because you can see Senna, Aphelios are banned, and then MF is like pretty good champ. I guess MAD would probably pick Kalista now, or Ezreal, and then a jungler, that's what I would expect.
I mean, we did see the Kalista from Carzzy way back in the past. There was even the fun little hover from DanDan too of the Taric as well. So, I mean, with the Kalista locked in, I wonder if they do go for that Taric third pick. Because, like, as you mentioned, Gragas does come in as probably the strongest jungler still up on this patch. And with the Olaf gone, it's not like you can shut him down too easily either.
Yeah, if you're MAD, you're in a quite good situation because you're red side, so you can pick your support on 3 and counter pick if they pick a support now. So they pick Nautilus, it's very likely a Taric coming in, like you said. And otherwise they could pick support and ban too if Misfits doesn't pick a support champ, so I would suspect the Taric Kalista versus MF Naut. It's a pretty even matchup, I would say, it's just preference. I'm just really curious about the jungle champ now. It might be Echo, because he really likes to play it, and it's fine into Gragas, I assume. So, yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think for Misfits, it's like you could look for the Echo if you're wanting to go like maybe an AD mid laner for Febiven as well to try and diversify the different damage types you can go for. The Jarvan's an interesting one, right? Unlocks faster than the Gragas in the early game, but also when you consider like later on team fights, like there's some pretty nice synergy there between the J4 and Misfortune ultimates.
Yeah, that's true, but usually you like to pick it into something that you can lock down. But it's pretty hard with Kalista, so I would think it's more of a good early game champ into the Gragas, and that you can pressure him in the early game, because the Taric pick should be expected by Misfits, right? So if you try to team fight with like hard engage versus Taric Kalista, it could get a bit difficult, but they probably have a plan to do something in the early game with the Jarvan. Otherwise I feel like it will be difficult for them to play.
Yeah, I think looking at, like, Kalista Taric in the bot lane, like, that feels like it would be pretty difficult to punish. I mean, obviously, pre-6, you're gonna have a much better option, but I'm now looking to see, like, what comes in through mid and top lane for the side of Misfits, because you can definitely look to, like, really double down on either of those two lanes, and especially if Nautilus can piece out a bot lane and look for those roams toward mid's lane, like Denyk likes to do all the time, that gives them a lot of good opportunities to shut down Humanoid.
Yeah, definitely. Humanoid, I assume, will get 5 pick, and they're setting up for a blind pick for Mad Lions right now on top. Yeah, I think when you're Mad Lions, you often want to get Humanoid on like a mobile champ, because he has shown in the past that he dies quite easily to ganks or gets caught out, and they already have Nautilus Jarvan, so let's see what Misfits tries to do if they try to take away the mobile champs. They banned Azir themselves, Matt. They're just spending blind picks for Misfits. Febiven, Azir, DanDan, Gangplank. It's pretty standard draft so far, I would say.
Yeah. So then Mad Lions coming out of here, either they can, I mean, ideally you pick something that can flex between mid or top lane, but, like, if I'm guessing, it's probably going to be a blind pick here for Orome, which means that Febi probably just goes for something safe in mid lane, and they try to double down around that top lane. That seems to be the tendency for Mad Lions, is they'd rather leave Orome out to dry on one of those blind picks than to, you know, put Humanoid in risk.
Definitely, yeah. The Aatrox, yeah, just a solid blind pick, I think. I'm not a top laner, but it always looks very strong when I see it in the games. The Camille.
Yes, yeah. There we go. We saw the Camille yesterday once, I think, so that could be an option. Both two annoying top laners to play against as an AD carry, I would say.
Definitely, yeah. They can one-shot you quite easily. Last game, I played with Camille too, but my team played super well around me, so I was lucky that I didn't die. Yeah, it's actually locked in. Okay.
I like this a lot, right? Like, because you were already talking about, like, the team fight power of a Taric in the bottom lane, right? So now this gives them, like, side lane opportunities with the Camille as well. Like, past Triforce, like, I don't think Aatrox is going to be doing too happy in that 1v1 matchup. And with the Jarvan too, you can sort of isolate that one early and try to, you know, get DanDan out to an early lead. Now you probably just go for a safe mid lane, yeah? Like, Orianna gives them the good team fight option, but also probably one of the better blind pick mids on the patch.
Yeah, they went full dive comp and like team fight, but they also have the side lane option, like you said. Yeah, I'm curious how it will work out versus the Taric. Oh, the Qiyana. Okay, Qiyana Gragas. I haven't seen that for some time, but it should still be a good champ, but it got nerfed quite a few times, so curious how this is gonna go. Definitely super volatile game, I think. Every lane can die easily with jungle interaction. The matchups are quite even, so yeah, it's gonna be exciting, I think.
Yeah, can you give a prediction based on the picks and bans, Ender?
Yeah, I think Matt will win. the champs look like good into Misfits champs overall, I think. So
Ooh, I don't know. I'm leaning a little bit towards Misfits here. I think they have some good options with Camille later on. I'm also like really doubting this Qiyana pick in mid lane because especially with a Jarvan as the enemy jungle matchup, like you're not going to be able to play really aggressive there. Orianna should be winning out. So unless Mad Lions bot lane is doing really good things or they can, get into team fights pretty easily, I feel like Misfits have a lot of good ways to jump ahead.
Yeah, it probably will be better jungle wins if Razork can just shut down the Gragas and make him not be able to gank the volatile lanes, then Misfits has pretty good chances because the matchups isolated are good. But if Gragas gets his Predator and starts ganking all over the place, I can see MAD just running away with this game.
Hey, let's see. Thank you both very much for your analysis in these picks and bans. It's time to get into our match of the week, MAD versus Misfits.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. My name is QuickShot, and I'm joining the caster desk this time with Indiana, Froskurinn, Black for the match of the week. Frosko, how are you feeling, and what are you looking forward to now that we've seen the drafts?
That was the ultimate trust fall, wasn't it? You weren't sure if I was actually going to respond to you right there.
I can see you're unmuted. I can see you do need to unmute in another one of our tools, though. Take a look at the second chat option. While you're looking at that, Frosko, something that I wanted to pick up from the analyst desk was how much I agreed. Looking at the Jarvan Camille and what they can do together in the early game, I'd love to see Razork spending some time around DanDan, trying to help him out and maybe getting that Camille ahead.
I mean, that's always going to be a breaking pressure point. You heard the analyst desk talk about, or I guess I should just quote him, Ender, talk about how it still gives Misfits side lane options, which is something that they always usually like to play around, whereas MAD have been much more focused into our big 5v5 team. I do want to kind of hone in on something in particular, though. It's Humanoid, and it's Humanoid's keystone because he's running Predator Qiyana. Normally you see Qiyana, obviously, with the Electrocute keystone, so I'm not going to say he's pulling a page out of Doinby's book. When you usually see Predator on Qiyana, it's when she's still in the jungle position. I had a quick peek at pro builds just to see if anyone was still running it. Selfmade ran it on the jungle just the other day. But that tells me that Humanoid is looking to sack this lane, that he's either going to be using his Predator boots because maybe he wants to get back really quickly into lane to try to find some cheap backs for itemization advantages over Orianna, or if he's just going to be sprinting to these side lanes and really trying to impact there, which with an Aatrox and a Kalista Taric, you have so many tools to play around.
Yeah, and combine Gragas as well. Like, if Shadow can actually help Humanoid and go for those roams, even if Febi wanted to, you don't want to run into any fog of war against those two teams. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited to see how it play out. Mad Lions, when I think of the team, Kalista, Taric, Qiyana, are literally three of the champions that come to mind that they excel at. So I'm nervous for Misfits. Denyk will get the dredge line here onto Kaiser. Take a lot of damage from Carzzy. That Rend really chunking him out. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Mad Lions can do. I mean, we heard Upset talking about Qiyana. He was a little bit shocked, saying that there was a couple of nerfs in recent patches, rather. So pressures on Humanoid, pressures on Mad Lions, and the battle for fourth is on the line as Frosk. Razork's going to make the first play. This should be first blood. Oh, beautiful flash after the flag and drag. An easy pick up there for DanDan.
So one of the things that we didn't talk about or mention, as I was doing hand signals with videos, was actually the jungle start from both junglers and the fact that it was a leashless wolf start for Shadow. So why this matters is that Shadow was pathing towards Orome on the top side, not doing his buff, because Jarvan, as the analyst was talking about, can really disrupt Gragas in initial pathing, so they placed a ward, and they were curious if Jarvan was going to contest. And I think the call was, hey, Jarvan's actually going buff to buff. He didn't try to invade on my blue buff. Oh my god, and then he showed himself. And so he was pathing topside to cover Orome when he was pushing forward and trying to get the wave to bounce off the tower. Didn't get there in time, so a bit of a desync for MAD that opened up that gank potential. And I actually think it's a little bit worse here because then Shadow also showed himself without having blue buff, which now tells Razork, hey, better jungler's about to win. He's cleared the scuttle crab. He now sees that your blue buff is still up, and he has priority into this bot lane. I think Misfits are about to just punch MAD in the face here and walk face first into the jungle.
I mean, that's what you want to see. Look at this. Razork, he's got the backup. Bvoy and Denyk making their way up as well. Shadow, no support yet. Carzzy and Kaiser haven't left, and Humanoid's finally left that mid lane. Kaiser steps forward. I think Shadow ended up smiting that one down. So he ends up securing the buff, but Misfits have got themselves a 600 gold lead already. And that first blood for DanDan, giving him the cull and the double longswords as Febi gets a good chunk of damage here onto Humanoids.
Yeah, actually really important there that Shadow was able to scrape away with that one. He's peeking in on the mid laners. You can see that Humanoid is getting pretty roughly bullied out in this lane by Febiven. Chasing him off. After this back, though, he should actually have access to that Predator because he'll probably get his boots. So there you go. There's the Predator boots. We'll see when he decides to pop these, and now this is kind of like the unlocked. He actually just popped them right now, sprinting off spawn. Okay, so he's actually just trying to get back to mid lane as quickly as possible, either to disrupt a recall or make sure that he doesn't lose any sort of CS. But again, there's the potential there that he's wanting to pop those with ganks and try to get out to these side lanes.
I actually quite like it because it's a little bit more versatile in some ways than TP. I mean, you said it a few minutes ago that when you saw the Predator, it would allow Humanoid to get back to lane a little quicker. Yes, he's still down 10 CS, but Febiven hasn't been able to leave yet. Febi running the Flash and Ignite. And hold that thought for a moment, because now Humanoid, he's making his way up top. Do Mad Lions really fancy a tower dive? Razork's coming in from the side. Level 5 on DanDan. He's got Flash available to him. Razork is going to be late to the party, but DanDan is down. Now Shadow goes out. The tower takes him out. Humanoid, the second shot. It's a double kill for Razork.
Oh, no.
Now he's turning his attention. Can he get more? Orome is not going to bite off more than he can shoot. That went awful for Mad Lions.
And you can see what the intention was. It's pretty clear. You got 3 people, 1 person at the tower. They're like, we'll just, mess this guy up and we'll be on our merry way. The issue was the flag and drag, I think, chained up 2 people as we take a look at the replay. So, Gragas is going to flash, fund body slam. There he goes. But here comes Jarvan just in time. The flag and drag, grabs 2 people. The tower still has aggro. It makes sure that Shadow takes the extra tower shot. And then because the tower never dropped aggro, Humanoid then gets blasted by it. Even uses his flash on the back end. That is a massive feels bad moment.
It really is. And it ends up being 1,000 gold lead to Misfits. Jarvan 2-0-1. And now DanDan 1-1-1. Razork, he's going to fancy another shot. I mean, this game has definitely already been, crystal clear laid out. Focus top, get people into an advantageous position. Orome, he's going to manage to get the Q, turns it back around. Razork's going to die! Razork's dead! Orome turns around. Now Bvoy's in trouble. He's forced to flash away from the stun. Kaiser and Carzzy can't do anything. Oh, Frosk, everybody's feeling frisky today.
I don't know why everyone is trying to run it down under these towers, however. This is like a series of unfortunate events as we are just sprinting towards the top lane, which is hilarious because talking to other analysts and kind of coaches behind scenes, one of the things about Misfits that is so curious is that they like to play around these top side. DanDan is now teamed up with Febi.
So he has indeed. Orome is caught on the wrong side here. Shockwave's available if it needed, but it's going to play this one safe. Just use the passive. Come on attack, come on dissonance. Eventually, Orome goes down.
But the thing is that Misfits were playing in a top side in a meta that was really focused around bot side. And they have Bvoy and Denyk, and these guys were kind of known as that more utility, kind of absorb you style of bot lane. Which is why Misfits' success was kind of a big question mark to a lot of the top teams. They were playing a style that was pretty counterintuitive to what everyone else around them was playing.
Yeah, they were. Misfits managed to escape with their lives. Humanoid threw the ultimate, the supreme display of talent, going not maybe the way he wanted to, but nevertheless, it's still an advantage to Misfits. And it is fun watching, these 2 teams. It's the battle of the rookies, battle for 4th place, effectively. And,
I see we're injecting narrative now, Trevor.
Yeah, but it's just, I love the fact that we're 8 minutes in. These teams have thrown everything they can at the game already. And in comparison to yesterday, Misfits looked awful. They didn't play well. They got smashed. So I'm pretty happy just to see the development from yesterday to today.
I mean, I understand that Misfits have had kind of a rough game. I think it's trying to find that balance between habit and pressure, especially when you're in an environment playing from either a gaming house or a gaming facility, under these different circumstances. And I think what is really interesting is you hear, Schalke, Scrim Gods, Abadage, this is what we've always been supposed to see. If Schalke had played online all this time, they would have, gone to Worlds and won it. And that might also be the other end of the spectrum with teams like Misfits, when you are moved out of an on-stage environment, it really is going to be your habits that take over.
Yeah. And it's a really fun psychological experiment because you see what Schalke can do now that sort of the stage shackles are removed, and now vice versa. Anyways,
I do want to quickly touch on that swap right there. Bvoy and Denyk not having access to ultimates, whereas Carzzy has just now ticked over. He was level 6, now level 7, so having the EXP lead, you can see the CS difference between them. And I just like the fact that Misfits found that small window to try to creep in and quickly grab that Herald while they had advantage on the map and trying to dodge away from this Kalista. They don't really want anything to do with her right now in these isolated 2v2s.
20 CS advantage already. Carzzy 0-0-0, got the Berserker's Greaves.
He's making up for Humanoid right now, who's also in a bit of a hole.
But I think you kind of expected that. I mean, the first thing you said at a draft, Frosk, was that like Humanoid can sack his lane and he wants to play around maybe somewhere else. So Carzzy and Kaiser, if they can win the game for you in the end, you don't mind. Humanoid just needs to find a stun, provide enough distraction for Carzzy to hop, skip, jump, and then rend the hell out of Misfits.
Yeah, but you want to do that where you're not bleeding monster objectives. Like, obviously, losing a Herald like that isn't going to be the end of the world, but I would like to see Humanoid start teaming up with his bot lane just because he has really great setup there, but he's constantly kind of cheating towards Orome and hanging around this Aatrox.
Well, let's see what happens. I didn't mention earlier, Madlands, they got their Cloud Drake 1.5 minutes to Infernal. So that will lead us with either the Ocean or Mountain Rifts. And now Humanoid. Where's he going? Flash available, Predator available.
It's because of the wave. Orome has pulled the wave from DanDan, and now DanDan's like, you know what? It's fine. I'll lose a couple of CS. I'll wait for this one to come to me. You can have it. It's great. But are they daring enough to go for the dive? And I think with that... Yes.
They are indeed. DanDan uses the hook shot. Stun comes out. He's locked down. DanDan is dead. 2-2-1. And Humanoid, he helped out his side lanes.
And back with that Aatrox. And now Razork might find himself in a risky situation. Shadow has Cask available. He could very easily sweep him off this tower, which is why Jarvan is like, get me the hell out of here.
Oh, explain to me how Razork got there. I actually turned away for a second. Didn't even realize he was on the tower. But he managed to escape with the flag and drag. Okay, yeah. I mean, he got to safety.
It was like musical chairs where Humanoid came too far around him and no one was covering actually the top narrow choke point that led up behind Drake. And so Razork saw his moment. He's like, flag and drag, I'm out. See you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have the tower. It's fine.
Okay, so 2-2-1. What does this do for the stakes of the game? All of a sudden, Mad Lions, they're ahead in gold. The Rift Herald is still with Razork, no tower down yet, although Bvoy seems to have a fair amount of time in this top lane, and there's Shelly. That's going to help out. So this should give Misfits a temporary advantage.
Yeah, they're just trying to get plates because we're trying to get to kind of key item breakpoints here. They do split the gold between Razork and Bvoy, but I actually think that either team is in a bit of a handshake situation. If you're the AD carries, like Bvoy's in between itemization, Kalista really strong on 1 and 2 items, so they actually just want to find a lane to farm. Whereas Humanoid is like, I got everything I need. I got my Caulfield's hammer, I have my dirt, and I am just like, I am sprinting around and trying to find people to murder. But everyone else is actually just trying to find safe waves to farm while we wait in between these big monster spawns.
What do you think about scaling? Do you prefer Misfits or Mad's comps? Like, we're 12 minutes in. Oh, you won't get a chance to talk about that because Misfits are now under siege. They started the Infernal, and you look at the mini-map, Mad Lions are running down.
Yeah, and the issue is that Misfortune took a back timer and is reset and is running there, which gave Mad the priority over Drake.
Okay, Shockwave used. That's a kill into Humanoid, but at what cost? Ren plus Smize. Oh, you can't flag and drag! The interrupt! Razork with a Cataclysm flash over the wall. That looked pretty fancy, but remember, there's no Shockwave available.
Terrible.
Now Kaiser's going to turn this around. All of a sudden, it's a 1-for-1. Bullet time comes down. Carzzy survives. Manages to use the barrier. Flash forward. One more auto. And that's a very nice hook shot. DanDan's going to continue to chase. All of a sudden, Misfits are right back into this. They get themselves a couple kills, and they take the gold lead.
Yeah, a bit of a tango, a dance back and forth around the Infernal. I like the fact that they're also not immediately turning towards the Infernal. They don't have their jungler, so it would be Shadow's incentive to step up and try to see if he could get the smite steal. Misfits, you guys already got what you came for. You allowed Bvoy to pick up some extra gold. He got there to the fight in time. You forced them off of the Drake, so just shove the waves, have a reset, see if you get tempo, and start it again. But it did start with this, the fact that Humanoid was looking for a deep flank. He was immediately caught out, CC'd with Denyk and Febiven, and then Razork actually does pull some fancy footwork here, using the Cataclysm, flashing over the wall, and then forcing the flash out of the shadow. But MAD takes so long to chase him that it allows Bvoy to show up. The Taric ultimate comes out, drops, and then Bvoy opens up the bullet time, taking huge chunks out of Carzzy, who's then finished off with the auto from Febi.
I absolutely love the impact that Taric's ultimate has. You see the moment Cosmic Radiance drops, Misfits just peace out. Like, they just run for the hills. And that is what makes me nervous. The later this game goes, the scary I think Carzzy and Kaiser are going to become. And I don't know if Misfits have the tools to deal with it. Like, you mistime the Shockwave, or the Cataclysm doesn't last long enough. I don't know if they can deal with a Taric Kalista combo. Razork tries to steal Infernal, but Shadow manages to get away with it. The Dredge line comes out, doesn't find a target, and Madeline does actually just walk away.
So what's interesting here is that Misfits ran immediately back into their lanes and then hard shove their waves, and maybe they were thinking that if Aatrox is there, we can trade or even stall out Infernal and potentially get top tower. I don't know if they expected MAD to just like sprint back towards the Infernal and start it up. Obviously, if you're trying to be in a smite contest with a Kalista and the enemy jungler, chances are you're probably not going to win that one.
Nope.
Although I've seen some crazy in-houses where the Kalista didn't win that one.
Oh, I wonder what's going to happen now for the rest of this game, because it looked so good for the first few ganks for Misfits until Orome turns it around 2v1, and now Mad Lions 1,000 gold down, still no tower, by the way. 15.5 minutes, these lane swaps, Frost, are only just going to pay dividends, and it looks like Misfits pushing in the mid. Is that a little weird to you? Like 50 minutes lane swapping, they're just trading kills and dragons?
They're only grouping up to fight each other outside of Humanoid on the hunt, obviously, for the Drake so far, but otherwise, again, both teams have kind of made this conscious handshake of playing strong side, weak side, and just funneling farm or hoovering farm up. It was the bot lane tower being traded for the Herald that was then used in the mid lane by Misfits. So, you know, no one's in like a dire circumstance, and I feel like both teams are kind of reading the situation on the map of where do we have more members, where can we rotate to first, and it's not a clear-cut victory one way or the other.
No, it's not. Aroma's going to caught inside the Cataclysm, but nobody else wants to help out. Kaiser steps forwards. Yeah, again, Cosmic Radiance. Like, just the threat of it forces Misfits to run away.
So here comes the adaptation though, Trevor. So we were in that handshake as people were just trying to get to their initial item breakpoints. You now have that for first items completed kind of across the board. And so now you're going to start seeing people really flexing or testing their muscles and hunting more for the, like these situations where they're curating or manufacturing team fights over the vision war.
And let's see who's going to benefit, because as it stands, it is Misfits that have tried and I think failed the last few plays. You know, they made that move on Dragon, didn't manage to work. They made the move on Orome top, didn't manage to work. He's 3-2-1, got himself the Black Cleaver, the Caulfield's Warhammer, sitting pretty comfortable. I do want to see what Febiven does. I mean, Orianna's Shockwaves, historically, they had game-changing impacts.
I mean, it's the easiest composition to Shockwave on. He's got a Jarvan and a Camille.
Frost, when was the last time that you saw like an EU Orianna really have a game-changing Shockwave and make sense? Like, it's not something that the current game, you know, really shines in, at least in my memory.
I mean, Orianna's being played a lot in the LPL right now, so kind of echoing what the analyst just said, she's a pretty decent, safe blind pick, and of course she's always going to be something that these kind of legacy mid laners will gravitate back towards, which Febiven definitely fits into that category. Oh, yeah. She's just been around for so long, and they all have their moments, so I don't mind Ori. He's obviously going for kind of the updated build path, having more of the utility to, because like the cost efficientness of, I always call it the frozen hose. Do you have a fun name for it, Trevor?
So I call it the Super Soaker. But technically it's the Hextech GLP 800.
I always get in trouble when I call it Frozen Hose. I'll hold though, DanDan. No, he's cool. Walk it out. Shadow, come on.
Yeah, I'm not sure Super Soaker's much better. Shadow will throw the barrel. Manages to pin DanDan against the wall. Hextech ultimately buys a second.
You had flash!
Humanoid gets the kill. DanDan forgot to flash.
Okay, I'll check at the replay. Maybe his flash just came off of cooldown. I was looking at Shadow. I was like, well, you'll force the flash, but you probably won't kill him. Shadow's like, nah, I got this guy.
I prefer it our way. It's a little funnier if the play-by-play just goes to go DanDan, doesn't flash. But they managed to get a trade. I mean, Misfits, they did take the mid inner turret, and now push down to bottom lane as well. So 2 turrets for the kill onto DanDan, as well as now a trade in return.
Check the
Is it
timer.
up?
He's got it. Well,
Yeah.
a spectator could be bugged, but it looks like it's up. So this means it's the CC lock between Shadow. Cast, in air, boom, belly bop into wall, and then the immediate damage. So
Well, concedes another death, Frost. Just as you sound really disappointed. You're not saying it, but I can hear the tone.
you can't see my face though, so I'll take
I can hear your smile. Like I can actually hear the grin at the sides of your mouth from this setup. Well, look,
I think that's one of the points where they're in team speaking like, my bad guys. That's my bad.
Exactly. Mountain Drake's got the mixed objective to fight over here. It looks like the Oblivion Orb's correction Spellbinder is now picked up by Febiven, and he's just joined the team. Shockwave again does a decent chunk to Orome, but now I think that just concedes the dragon.
Yeah, but Misfits just need to go in and force mid pressure. They just want to try to flush Mad out, and Mad are like, no, we are doing this absolutely. Check out Camille in the top lane. How long can Misfits stall?
Supreme display of talent. It could be so pivotal. Bullet time comes down. It was too early. Didn't put any pressure on Shadow whatsoever. And now all of a sudden, another dragon goes the way of Mad. They're 1 away from Soul.
I actually disagree with that TP coming out of DanDan there. You had just blown the Shockwave, and so Misfits are saying, like, stall, see if you can pull them off the Drake. Again, trying to outsmite the Kalista team is always going to be really difficult. If Mad mess up and they miss position, then obviously, like, look for the fight there. But you had a wave pushing into the tower for Camille. At this point, she's still going to do a lot of damage to it. I actually don't think that they should have pulled the trigger on that TP. I think DanDan, unfortunately, is having a bit of a rough game, despite his 2-3 and 2 scoreline. Yeah, I can make stupid jokes too, Trevor.
I'm so happy. Up 2,500 gold, and it still feels like Mad Lions are the ones in control. Cosmic Radiance comes down. That's going to get the 3-man unstoppable. Razork forced to flag and drag to safety. Humanoid's coming in. Supreme display of talent. That takes down Febiven. Sniped. And all of a sudden, Mad gets 2 more in turn for Baron.
Oh no, Febby, you baited the team. It looked so good. He was clean. He was like, I'm gonna kill Shadow right there. Shadow just barely got away, but they overreach. Misfits collapse around Febiven. They're trying to cover their Orianna, who reach very deep into the enemy jungle, and then they just get pincered by Mad and ripped apart into a Baron. That is disastrous for Misfits.
Unbelievable. Kaiser's ultimate saving the life, and then just...
Well, look how it starts! Febby walks in, he's gonna do so much damage, like, look at that shockwave, and Shadow gets away with a sliver of health. Then there's the flash, it doesn't connect with the Taric stun, the Kalista ultimate comes out now as Razork's like, I'm late for the party, I'm here for the party. He jumps in, now it's about saving Private Febiven. Can they get him out? And then from downtown, the supreme display of talent finishes him off, while the rest of Misfits have now found themselves in such a precarious situation.
That CS deficit, the early laning, sacking, doesn't matter. Humanoid's found a way to impact the game. Here's bot lane 2-1 and 2. Shadow's now having like game impacting ultimates. Mad Lions, they take control. 3 dragons at 22 minutes, and I think they might just get the soul in a moment or two.
And it's just kind of these small decision-making errors from individual members from Misfits right now. We talked about DanDan having a bit of a rough game, and now Febiven, which, again, it looked like he was about to flex on Mad Lions, that he was going to be kind of that hard carry. Imagine if he had killed Shadow there. It might not have meant the Baron, but it wouldn't have looked that bad. But just that split-second punishment has now really pulled the game out of their hands, and exactly where Mad want to be in their power spike with their champions. This is everything green light for Mad. Like, at this point of the game, they want to gobble up as much as humanly possible.
Frost, with this Baron, with this lead, and the way they're playing, what odds do you give Mad Lions to win this game? Pretty high?
Well, they need to win the next team fight. If they win the next team fight, I'd shoot those odds up to like 70%. Okay,
team fight's happening now. Dragon's gonna be in 1:40. I'm gonna live in a world where that odds, those chances are high. If you're an XL fan, just super quickly, if you're an XL fan, if Mad Lions win, XL have to beat G2 to stay in the race for playoffs. If Mad Lions win and G2 win later, XL are out of playoffs and our top 6 are locked today.
And not to put a damper on the XL fans, I can hear them. They're getting very excited. They're very, very loud. I would still say, though, that I'm really liking Misfits' chances in this game. Their amount of wave clear that they have to stall out the Baron, which is why it's so important that MAD have to win this next team fight. This composition really excels at winning the team fights and then translating that into objectives, whereas Misfits comp doesn't necessarily have to win team fights. It works really well in team fights, it's got all the wombo combo, but they could also play out into side lanes.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Mad Lions pushing the bottom right now. Orome shoving into the inner turret. Razork will drop the Demacian Standard on Shadow's head. We are still 35 seconds from Dragon, but you can feel the tension building. Both teams have set their sights on that objective. Misfits cannot afford to give Mad Lions the next Drake.
I actually really like what MAD are doing with the Qiyana. I did feel like Ender did that it was a bit of a weird pick, like obviously a signature Humanoid pick, but I think it was because they saw the Camille, and Camille likes to play that side lane, and what Humanoid is doing by playing, you know, the Peter Pan Shadow to this Aatrox here is obviously like it's never going to be a fair fight on a side lane. It's never going to be that 1v1 that the Camille wants. It's always going to be that 2v1 with how much mobility she has.
Yeah, definitely. And now Misfits, ooh, they're kind of split up Mad Lions. Let's take a look what happens. Now the barrels, that's 2. Ooh. All of a sudden onto Bvoy. The body slam caught him as well. Shadow trades his life for 1, and the shockwave whiffs did absolutely nothing. Take a look at Humanoid. He jumps in, snipes down Febiven. 1, 2 kills already. The third is going to be Razork as Denyk is running for his life. He's taken out by Humanoid, and now Razork will get run down. That's going to be 4 kills to the Mad Lions.
And now it is just going to be that much easier. As you said, Razork gets run down. It's now the waiting Mountain Drake for Mad Lions, and Misfits, they had been so patient. They were sitting in the mid lane. They knew that Mad had control of the bottom side of the jungle. They were trying to be super cautious about how they approached and moved into Fog of War, and they just get absolutely blitzed, and again, everything went wrong. If they had just been patient and tried to wait this one out, got a better positioning on the Drake, they wouldn't be in such dire straits right now.
But Frost, didn't you say that earlier? It's going to become a battle about vision and who's going to control the information and then make the decisions, and unfortunately, also Bvoy getting caught by every single thing Shadow throws out.
Yes. 2 things there. A, amazing done by Shadow to trade 1-for-1 for the Misfortune. You absolutely take that every single time. Also, Febi completely sombreroed the shockwave right there. Just wore the little hat, didn't hit anyone.
Find that word. I actually wanted to say sombrero, and the reason I ended up like stumbling over shockwave is I couldn't find sombrero in like my mind palace. It was just empty. Oh.
It was a bit of the party hat. That's what I'll call it.
That's it. The party hat from Febiven ends up whiffing, ends up putting Misfits now down 4 dragons, down 3,000 gold, and it's been a interesting game to watch. But another time that you look at Humanoid, Carzzy, Kaiser on their comfort picks, and you cannot deny the impact that they have.
I think MAD are gonna win. Like, if you, obviously you look at the scoreline and you're like, oh yeah, of course MAD are gonna win. They're ahead right now. But, like, look at their itemization. They've now got, completed 2 items. There's multiple GAs in the pocket. You have the Taric ultimate. We said it was so important that MAD, like, really had to snowball on that Baron to kind of fight in their pocket. Now they're ahead of the clock. The Baron's about to spawn with these GAs. MAD are like, come fight us. Like, we can die multiple times and we can continue to throw it at you right now. This is kind of like the climax of the game. This is the do or die moment for Misfits. If they can survive this, then they get another shot at this. If they wash here, it is all she wrote.
And of course it has to be on Febiven. No! He's got caught up. This is the man that needed to make it happen. The shockwave animation doesn't even complete. Just caught up by Shadow. Again, a fantastic Gragas engage. And it needed to be the shockwave to turn it around. I think if this Baron goes the way of Mad Lions, that has to be the end. I don't see a way the Misfits can come back, and they're not even going to contest right now.
And the pick potential is just huge right now, as you called it out. Shadow is finding cask after cask from complete darkness, and Tangent's over to side lane like, guys, just, if we don't die, if we stop and just wave clear, just like play vacuum so I can even try to hit a tower before you guys are all on fire on the rest of the map. Like, everything is disjointed from Misfits right now. Look at how much damage he does to it if he's left alone with it.
It's funny, Schalke get the Scrim Room or Gaming House buff, and Misfits get the debuff. Maybe playing on stage, this roster performs, it steps up. But like, it's a different environment, it's a different mindset, it's been a break week. You know, you have to start factoring these things in, and Misfits, they're looking like they're going to go 0-2.
It's also huge credit to Mad Lions right now. I was definitely a person who counted Mad out. I thought, okay, they had some upsets, they're inflated in the standings because of it, and we're probably going to see them kind of take a back seat, and it's either going to come down to the wire between Excel or Mad, but I'm not super excited about either. They're playing this game really well and very creatively, and huge shout out to Humanoid on this Qiyana pick. Like, it's obviously one of those pocket picks that we've seen him pull out. We know he can play the champion, but what he's doing with the champion and how he's applying pressure to the map, been super impressed with him right now.
Frosk, did you manage to hear me and VODS in the previous cast? And I started to live in a dream world.
He
where
lives
Mad
next door,
Lions...
Trevor. Of course,
oh,
I heard him.
Okay, fantastic. What is about this dream world where Origin lose a game to Mad next week, Saturday? And maybe XL pick up a la surprise and take down OG the day before. Like, Mad mathematically could creep into third, however unlikely it may be.
I mean, yes, it's always possible. We joke about this all the time. We're like, oh, every game matters. And then we're like, it'll never matter this time. And it almost always does. So, you know, what the hell do we know?
I would love it. Like, what a story for Mad Lions to creep themselves into third. I mean, taking a win here against Misfits is a gigantic step towards securing that 4th seed. We'll have to see what happens. Obviously, Rogue Misfits, you know, sniffing around that. But Misfits now looking like they're going to get dropped down. Mad Lions. Keep watching Shadow. Every time he swings around, no flash, but he's got the barrel and he can instantly catch someone.
So again, at this point, Misfits using that ultimate there defensively are just trying to survive, to stop the bleeding, to live to fight another day, because they're like, eventually, this could be a win for us. We just gotta find that actual team fight and find these core items. I just think that they're so far behind the clock right now that even if they get the miracle like wombo combo, like the Jarvan, the Camille, the Shockwave, it all looks beautiful. I actually don't know if they win that fight still.
Oh, I don't know. Let's take a look. 1v2 right now. Denyk's making his way. Orome is going to go golden, buying some time. Oh, the rest of Mad Lions are in the base. They've already got the inhibitor turret. Orome still staying alive. That sustain is insane. The exhaust needs to come down. I feel like without it, Orome may have won, but at what cost? Inhibitor in the top lane has been taken out. Now all of a sudden the inhibitor turret's in the mid lane. Mad Lions, they're pushing in for the siege. The shockwave hit, but like, what did it do? Unfortunately, nothing.
And that may be all she wrote, as Mad Lions can smell blood in the water. Here we go, one last fight.
One last fight. Cosmic Radiance comes down. As soon as I saw the Kalista Taric, I started getting nervous for Misfits, and they need to get nervous now. Mad Lions are 8,000 gold up. They're tied in a head-to-head at 9-6.
They want Elder.
And there is going to be the dredge line. Turns around, body slam comes out. Razork is low. DanDan step forward, gets caught out. Kaiser steps in, dashes back, and Humanoid's got himself one. The 3rd inhibitor is down. And Mad Lions, they're going to peel back all 3 inhibitors. It's 4 seconds to Elder, and that's going to be the final siege that they need to set up. It's been a really fun game to watch, but it's one that Mad Lions have felt a little bit in control over for the majority of it.
Yeah, super scrappy, very back and forth. Kind of started with those initial early dives, and it's kind of been blow for blow every single time, but Mad Lions finding the success in these team fights. And you called it, Trevor, there's the shockwave. It really doesn't do any damage, and it's what we were talking about a little bit before, is that Mad are so far ahead of the clock that even if you did land kind of like all these big ultimates, you know, you expect that shockwave to hit a lot harder. But since Febi has been so starved out in levels and experience and gold, as Mad just kind of springboarded ahead, even if he finds it, it doesn't really matter. So this is the last stand for Misfits, is what I'll call it. They're like, okay, we either fight him here or we have to fight him in Elder. Like, you guys take your pick.
Well, they can't even get into... I mean, by the time they get to the pit, Elder's down. I mean, DanDan's dealing with the bottom lane. Febi's need to back up. I think he's used all his mana just to deal with the supers.
Okay, boys, start loading up on elixirs. We got one final fight. Everyone, get your consumables in here.
I like this optimistic Frost. When we're in the studio and we got all the lights and the stage, you're just like, no, this is done. But now we're at home, you're in your comfy leather chair, and you're like, there's still one more chance. This is that chance. Shockwave hits, Cataclysm hits, everything hits, and it doesn't frickin' matter. Mad Lions have eaten Misfits for dinner. The lion has destroyed the hare, and Mad Lions will sit in sole control of 4th right now.
I think the story of that game was, like you said, 3 ultimates landed on top of Carzzy and he got a double kill. Like, that was basically it.
What I love is I got to see inside your mind a little bit, because when you start chuckling and the ultimate's doing nothing, I totally understand the thoughts and feelings that you've currently got. Anyways, player of the game, Orome, Humanoid, and Kaiser. And I'm going to quickly get my script up. When we return, Law's going to be joined by Carzzy, one of the many candidates for Rookie of the Split. Don't laugh at me, I'm new at this. It's also